Okay. Thank you.
I gotta figure out how to get my city email on my phone. I can't figure it out. I've got,
Yeah, look at it.
there's counties in there.
You've got Microsoft Authenticator.
I do. I do have some
Then it should send a push notification.
to put it on this one.
It's easier to do from a desktop.
Who's that?
Because you may have. QR code.
I'll say, cause it's on my Outlook at work. And it's at the bottom of there. Cause I got county, and then you scroll all the way down, and the city's at the bottom.
Yeah, you should, use it.
Yeah,
I
just
mean, we
gives
will
him
be
a-
anyway, just because we
I don't know. I'll have him explain it
hired
tonight.
a structure for it.
It,
Log in.
yeah, it just gives him the ability to
Wonder what that is.
do exactly what it
So
says.
it goes by default.
Just to represent
Start
the
paying the
city.
bill.
Get my password.
Well, it comes right on my computer. So
I usually use random
Yeah.
password generator that I don't even know.
I just wanted to clarify.
Safe.
then you have to do it every time. I have the
So you
same,
have to do it again.
You'll explain that tonight.
Correct.
yeah.
I have the same password for everything.
I don't have a good I mean, you can
It's a
it's
a requirement by the bank.
you can articulate it better than I can.
Okay, it's for banks.
Yeah.
I'm a broke old man.
It's through EasyGo. But EasyGo uses PNC. PNC requires,
Okay.
from what Matt quickly said, they're the only institution that requires it, but just means lucky yes.
Yes, that's a good way to phrase it.
So you might come to the last meeting. That's what I think.
Okay, now I know this.
We don't know yet. I know. Everybody on Facebook, just get you a coop and get them, see what they do. Yeah, go ahead. I don't, well, my son, oldest.
Is there anything
Oh,
with heat on it today
yeah,
that
she
I should
gives it-
report on? Because I thought everything, just a basic meeting, I'm sorry.
In fact, he's giving that. You might go out and look at
Thought I'd
it.
double check.
Try to introduce
Maybe I
him.
missed something I did.
Oh, really? I'm gonna try to live some.
You might go.
Yeah, he said there was like 26.
I'm going to call the Tippin Common Council meeting to order and begin with the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. First item on the agenda this evening are the minutes from the last meeting.
Mayor, I make a motion to approve the March 10th meetings as written.
Oh, sorry. We have a motion and a second to approve the minutes as submitted. All those in favor of the motion signify by stating aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Nate. Motion carries. Any amendments to the agenda this evening? Hearing none, moving,
Board meeting. Do it on the other committees.
okay. Hearing none, moving on to committee reports, and this is the second meeting of the month. We'll begin with Board of Works and Safety.
We had a pretty short meeting because everybody in Tipton and their cousins go to Florida. So, fire and police chiefs are not in. We approved, the usual, closure, for the farmer's market submitted by Aaron Shockley. No concerns. It's routine at this point. And we also opened sealed bids to buy the old golf carts. We received one bid from $8,000 from Jake Adams and one for $48,000 from DeLong Power Sports. DeLong's delineated how much they were going to pay for the non-working ones versus the working ones, and then we voted to move forward with disposing of those golf carts at $48,000 to DeLong's through that process. Other than that, pretty short meeting.
Thank you. Golf advisory?
Golf Advisory did meet, had a nice meeting, still getting to know the new pro. But encourage anyone that hasn't been out to the clubhouse to get out there and see the changes. Golf course is ready to go. I think the nice weather last week caught him a little bit off guard, but he's hoping to have all of his point of sale installed Wednesday, so the credit cards will be back up and used hopefully on Wednesday. So they're ready to go.
Very good. Tipton Partnership Initiative. You want to go ahead with that
You want
one?
me to report on that?
If you like, yeah.
We did meet, had several different individuals there, had a really good discussion, a nice meeting. Discussed a lot of different things. Hopefully this is a group that will be able to continue to get together and figure out how we can work together to make Tipton County the best county in the state.
Tall order. Thank you, Ken. Solid waste.
We did meet today, nothing really stood out, just a basic meeting today.
I did have a question on the solid waste. We voted a year ago to get rid of that junk pile of limbs and all that as a solid waste board. And I was out the other day and it's still there. So I didn't know if the solid waste had made any more plans. It was never in the solid waste, like roles and responsibilities to deal with yard waste. And with the budget the way it was and Angie didn't deal with that really, we voted as a board a year ago to just, the solid waste wasn't going to deal with it anymore. Find somewhere else to do
I
it.
know they completely grounded that up
When
and got rid of it completely, what, 2
yeah,
months
to
ago?
the tune of 20
August.
grand every year.
Yeah, correct.
The solid waste we found did not always have the money for that. And who pays for it? And
True.
yeah, that's why it's a solid waste. And I don't remember if Denny was on at that time or if it was, I forget what commissioner was on. But we basically said that the county felt okay with county residents already kind of have places to take their yard waste. The city would continue maybe with pickup through a toter system or
Mhm.
in the street in the meantime, which we want to get rid of. And solid waste seemed on board with, we just can't deal with it anymore. And it just seems like it's always there in the background.
I would agree.
Kind of a problem. So I didn't know if the solid waste board had made any further plans to.
I think you present new information I was unaware of.
Yeah, Angie has all that. I mean, we were ready to be done with that. It's a
Thanks.
hazard too. If you ask Angie, she's trapped tons of animals.
Oh yeah, rodents. You talked about that.
Last time she done a cleanup, she mentioned, I don't know how many animals that was caught out there.
Yeah, and
Snakes,
then
everything.
not much yard waste that sits for too long can be a burn hazard. We've learned that lesson around here before too. It's not. She stuck a thermometer. She pulled me in it and said it's probably north of 300 degrees sometimes. So just concerns. I mean, the city, I think it pushes us to move forward with a better yard waste program.
Mhm.
It doesn't clog
What's
our
the
drains.
alternative
For what?
for
Find
the,
somebody else to deal with your yard waste. But
Yeah.
I think we want to provide that service as a
Yeah.
city, balancing that against, we put it in the street now and it clogs sewers and it leads to issues at solid waste or waste management out there. and all that. But
So what do we do, dumpster it somewhere else?
I don't know if Dylan would need to be involved in that. It goes to Green Cycle now,
And then we
all of our yard.
take it out there.
the solid waste.
I mean, and unfortunately, the grinder that's out there is
Oh, yeah.
not usable.
No.
So you have to hire somebody to come in
And
and
that's what we done back in August. We hired them to come in and completely clean it.
19,000, 20,000 is what it is every time we do that. And the solid waste board is kind of like, well, we'll find the money, but you know, when we, about 4 years ago, they were burning money so fast. We had a good cash cushion, but they were burning so fast, we would have been out of money by now if we hadn't fixed some things. So, all right, just something to keep on your radar.
Thanks for that information. Street Alley Sidewalk has their next scheduled meeting in April, so no report there. Planning Commission.
I was unable to attend the meeting. I went up to the planning commission today and got the minutes, talked to Judy. She said that they did a recommendation for the definition amendment. So it's supposed to be coming to us.
Very good. Utility Board.
Utility board, everything is going well. We did have a meeting, last Monday night in these chambers. The two big projects are going well. I know we've probably got another month on the, west wastewater main coming in, before that's complete, and, but West Street's looking pretty good.
Yep.
I try to check on it a couple of times a week. And that's probably about it.
Very good. Nothing new to report on youth council, that they do have their end of year spring program coming up. So that'll be, I believe, in late April that they'll program that. Councilman Crean, you had something under other boards and committees.
One quick, one maybe not quick. So one, Tim and I met again last Tuesday to make sure he and I aligned on the changes we want to make to the truck ordinance and the golf cart ordinance. I need to get that to Matt. I'll do that this week to get us a draft of any changes to consider and talk about and get underway. And then the second one was, there was a county RDC meeting last Wednesday, in which I attended, and the utilities, Donnie McElfresh and Dick Klein were there. And it led to a really good discussion. It sounds like some of that was discussed at the Tipton Partnership Initiative. And I talked to Councilman Purvis and asked him to attend today. He's going to give a brief synopsis of kind of what was discussed, and then kind of the outcome, which will need some council involvement for an appointment. So,
Am I on?
you're on.
I appreciate the opportunity to talk with you guys. It was the RDC meeting, but it was specifically to try to form what we come up to decision was to form a committee. And so I have a little handout here to try and give a brief synopsis. So the issue is the RDC sees it, the county RDC. We've enjoyed a long, productive partnership with the utilities and with the city of Tipton. We worked on a lot of potential developments over the years in unincorporated areas of the county, but they are in the TMU service area, from including the sale of the Chrysler plant to Nutrient Ag to the Force Main and water tower projects themselves. And recently, there's been an uptick on single-family house and residential housing interests from developers. But that's kind of been a problem, because we can't really give them confirmation of how much service they could expect, or and that's kind of a dog wagging the tail a little bit, because we don't know how much they need, but yet we also need to be able to tell them what we have. So so at the meeting that Nate was discussing, and it was a really good broad-based meeting, a lot of good conversation. I think the city was represented well from Councilman Crean's perspective. But during that meeting, we invited multiple folks, but out of that conversation, it was decided that we should ask to form a task force to work on a memorandum of understanding that would clearly and formally guide the process going forward on what utilities, how we could tap into utilities. And so the next steps, what we're asking is to form a task force or subcommittee. The objective of the task force discussion to negotiate the terms and processes by which projects in unincorporated areas of the service area, TMU service area, would be able to access utility services. We would like this a fairly quick timeline. We are hoping that we'll have a MOU finalized by the end of April. We actually stated April 24th. So it would be, we'd like to put something on the board and work towards that goal. Membership, what we propose is, obviously, Mr. Mayor, you've got to be on there if you're limited to it. We'd like 2 city council members. The TMU would be Director Ankrum and Don McElfresh. County Commissioner is going to be 1, would be Tracy Powell, and then myself and Mike Terry are the county council members are going to be on the board. We're also going to ask for a Tipton School Board rep and the Tri-Central School Board rep. So that's kind of a brief synopsis of what we're asking. What I would say it would ask is 2 council members, and then buy-in from you, Mr. Mayor. And then I'll take that back to the email wise and just start get a meeting dates figured out, and quicker the better. So,
Can I ask why the rush?
That deals.
Hmm?
That perspective. Project.
You got them signed on the dotted line?
We have to have confirmation of utilities.
We seem to think it's a rush because we have a lot of interest. And
What'd she say?
Perspective.
Go ahead. I'm assuming from a utility standpoint, you're going to ask the city for money or going to ask utilities to do that? County going to pay for it?
That's what the project is shooting.
Donnie had a ton, that was a recorded meeting, it's on the county's website. I didn't expect to talk and ended up talking too much probably, but Tracy gave me this look and was like, get up there. I'm like, okay. I made my position as a single city council member clear, but Donnie had some great information that I was frankly unaware of about, well, if this, then capacity issues, if this, then, which leads to other question, who pays for an East Plan expansion, all things that we should all be like at the table. And I said, to me, it's all about compromise, but that's usually when everybody's unhappy, right? Except at my house, it's just when my wife's happy. I think the outcome of this is good, and I think everybody agreed that if, I didn't realize it was that aggressive of a timeline, and that's fine, that we need council and the mayor to be involved, and it just sets us up for the future. Like, the city has concerns, obviously. The number one thing being, if development happens outside of city limits, but city utilities are needed, who pays for future things, who pays for future amenity, all these things that can be discussed, I think, in this task force and be hammered out. Because we do all have a shared goal of more rooftops, more people.
Yes.
And so if anybody's curious, that meeting was about an hour, it had a lot of good info, but the outcome's still the same. And that is city, county, utilities have to all three work together, at least to discuss the next options. And all these questions came up, very good questions, same ones I had. So with that, I obviously would love to be on it as the council president. So I would accept the nomination for myself. I'm not going to nominate myself.
I nominate Nate.
I'd second that.
Motion and a second. All those in favor? Say
Aye.
Opposed? And then we would need another council person on it.
I'd love to volunteer for it.
Then I don't have to.
I wanted to be at the meeting. I was in Chicago that night, so I could not be there. Unfortunately, I wish I had been.
Yeah, if you want.
I nominate Tim Richards for that position that he's desiring.
Second.
Motion and a second. All those in favor? Say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, so Tim and I will serve.
I appreciate that. Can I count on your?
Yeah, any extension of the utilities would require mayor's approval. So,
Yes.
yeah.
Very good.
That makes sense.
We'll get an email chain going. I know I can get Tammy I can probably need Tim's email and start figuring out meeting dates.
Good deal.
Thank you
Yeah,
very much.
Yeah.
I'm just for FYI, I make myself available as much as possible. I don't have I'm not out of town or anything. So, I mean, that's pretty aggressive. It's about a month.
Yeah, that was.
So tell the county to buy pizza and we'll just lock ourselves in our room until it's
I make sure and make as much time as you need also.
I know Jim's on vacation, but he'll be back next week.
June. Oh, Anchor.
Anchor.
Yeah.
Donnie.
So at this point,
Leaves.
Abby, have you got anything else you can share other than you think you've got somebody?
Yeah, sure. Good evening, everyone. Yeah, I have to, be careful not to overshare. Abby Smith, Community Development Director for Tipton County. We do have 3 or 4, that's not true, 4 or 5 landowners who are amenable to selling and open and discussing with developers. We have one who brought the developer to us, so they're ready to go. And then 5 or 6 developers who are looking at the area. So what we're talking about specifically are properties in the Old State Road 28 corridor, but outside of the corporation limits. They're not toward the western edge, trying to keep that as close to the city as possible to try to encourage and foster growth from the city out and not cut it off by any means. Let me think. In terms of capacity, I think what we heard at the RDC meeting is that we have at least enough for 500 homes until we get to 80% on our utility system. We are not talking about 500 homes. I want to be clear about that. We are not talking about 500 homes.
Yeah.
Right. Hey, no. Hey, no. Every discussion I've had with developers has talked about a phased plan to make sure that the community is comfortable with the growth, that we are not kind of pushing the bounds of what the community in general is ready for. So every approach has been phased at about 100 homes. If those are successful and we see those go, then they're prepared to continue on beyond that. Councilman Crane mentioned the capacity. Like I said, they're, from what I understand, a project of that scale with 500, which again, we do not have. We are talking about 100 homes. Would take us to 80%, which is when you would want to begin planning. So again, we are not even close to approaching that 80% with the current projects on the table. So the other projects are near Sharpsville. So just trying to figure out exactly what does that look like? How do we engage on projects? It's been pretty seamless up until talking about single family residential, where the utility just let us know, here's what it would take, here's how much it would cost. We talk to the developer, whether it's residential or commercial or industrial, and they pick up what they pick up. The county might accommodate that with various incentives, tips, or to payback or abatement or whatever we might do. But this is still a bit squishy on that single family. So we're looking for a way to engage. This is how we can work projects. We know how we're going to go forward, and so that we don't get caught up in this. So I'm happy to, I don't need to be vague. It's they're all.
You're always vague.
There was some.
Do you have a specific question?
No, I just wondered what other information you might have that you could share.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I mean, it's, again, there is no request for a capital outlay by the city or the utility. I think the county is mobilizing. We've got financial structures in place to be able to bring the resources that we have to the table. Of course, I cannot speak for any of the policy makers. I cannot commit incentives, but in general, I've done quite a few trainings, so we all understand the tools that we have. And this is a priority for the community. We know that, and we're in a comprehensive planning process. So is the city. We've heard it over and over and over again that we need houses. There's no other advocate or no better advocate for than Robert Cochran II, Jr. How does that work? I'm not really sure. But he wants houses. I don't know if you guys knew that, but
The third.
so anyway, just working very hard, making sure that county's trying to do their part to work on those housing projects as well.
Great.
There was some discussion about the capacity of the new Stellantis tenant, and Donnie laid out very clearly what that could mean and their projection, 350,000 gallons a day.
Okay, listen, when we get into those measurements, I get really confused unless
Yeah.
they're written down, because the units of measure change a lot, and so I'm not comfortable. But I think that sounds about right.
Yeah, so that could, it's a sliding scale. So if they end up in 2 years needing way more, then the capacity doesn't become 500 homes, and in the near future, maybe it becomes 200. And again, as I said in that meeting, I rely upon Donnie and Jim to tell me, because I don't understand that either. But I do know at the end of the day, it's a 2 to 5 year process, according to Donnie, to, if we're at 80%, we need to initiate improvements and expansion at this plant in town. And again, all good questions, so your mind's in the right spot of what then and how does that work?
Yeah.
Again, not promising that someone else will pay, but the discussions and negotiations with the former Stellantis plant buyer included their own considerations for our need for capacity increases. So they were made aware that once you get to fully operational, if you get to this point, then you'll need to consider the capacity increases that our system will need. So we've laid that groundwork as well. Not over promising, just want you to know that's part of that too, is their own cost.
Thank you, ma'am.
You're welcome.
Very good. Moving on with the rest of our agenda. No items under new or old business. From mayor's report, a few items. The city is moving forward with updating comprehensively its city employee handbook. So we'll be working. We've had our touch base meeting with the consultant. This individual will spend the next probably 2 to 4 months, depending on the complexity of the handbook, but be working on that. That will then get shared in its final form to the council for approval, probably sometime in August. But wanted to update you guys. This is probably the largest update to the city handbook since I think we found 1999, I believe was the last comprehensive update. So good news there. Park playground installation is underway. Actually, the weathers was really holding that project up. So we're probably 2 good weeks from having the park playground completely installed. Again, that's gonna be weather dependent, so it could be longer than that. I do have a meeting next week with the Trails Committee. They'd reached out in preparation for their next public meeting, just to make sure that their priorities and the priorities of this administration align. I don't have any reason to believe that they don't, but we'll be sitting down with them in preparation for that meeting to discuss next steps. As was mentioned, the city's doing some comprehensive planning updates with Ball State. There's a meeting tomorrow night where they're going to report out their findings from the first community meeting. So I would encourage you all to take some time out of your evening to attend that. It's at 6:30 at the CW Mount Center.
What day was that?
Tomorrow. Tuesday. I'll be spending some time with Municipal Services Superintendent Dylan and City Engineer Corey this week for some stop sign locations. Again, as you all know, we're updating the stop signs in downtown, and today's windy weather exemplifies why. The original stop signs have not handled the weather well. They were a temporary solution. We continue to have to update or repair those. So we'll be out there this week identifying where those will get core drilled, and then we'll actually go through the process of getting those core drilled and then the new posts installed. The last thing I have for today is you all at this point know that BMO Harris Bank is leaving the community, so we are have worked, Tammy and I collectively, on creating the RFI for our banking services to select a new depository for the city of Tipton. And by we, I do mean Tammy, delivered that RFI to the 2 local banking institutions. We're precluded from banking with Encompass Credit Union because they are a credit union, not FDIC insured, but have delivered that to both local institutions. We require a local institution because of the banking deposits that we make on a daily basis. And I think there's a 2-week period for that response to the RFI. So in short order, we'll be selecting a new depository for the city of Tipton. Moving on to the resolutions and ordinances section of our agenda. The first is an amendment, Resolution 2025-02. It's a resolution amending the 2025 Tipton Golf Course fees. Specifically, there are new fees that were added at the request of the new director of golf. Those include discount green fees, vendor advertising fees, and the golf outing fees. The outing fee is trying to build more of a sophisticated professional approach to our outings. So we're really excited with what that will be as we move forward, but that is before you in an amendment form.
I make a motion that we accept resolution 2025-2.
Second.
Motion is second to approve resolution 2025-02. All those in favor of the motion signify by stating aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. The next is our annual adoption of a resolution to adopt the sidewalk improvement program for 2025. So resolution 2025-04, it's a resolution adopting the 2025 sidewalk improvement program and funding. The funding has not changed and no specifics, details about the program have changed for this year.
Move to approve 2025-04, the sidewalk improvement program.
Second.
The motion is second to approve resolution 2025-04. All those in favor of the motion signify by stating aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. The last is resolution 2025-05. It's a resolution and certificate of incumbency for the 40 golf carts to be leased at Tipton Municipal Golf Course. This is actually a lease through EasyGo. EasyGo uses PNC Bank as its leasing entity. PNC is one of a few institutions that require council's passage of a resolution. So it's a formality, but gives myself the authority to sign this lease agreement, and then also offers Tammy the right to then be the witness to that signage.
I move we approve resolution 2025-05.
Second.
A motion and a second to approve resolution 2025-05. All those in favor of the motion signify by stating aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. We're now to claims.
I move that we approve for payment claims 178,485 through 178,987 in the amount of $679,706.66.
Second.
A motion and a second to approve claims. Any questions? All those in favor of the motion signify by stating aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstention?
Was that Rich or me?
That's all.
We're now to petitions, comments, and memorials.
Yeah. Good evening. Rob Conger, Tipton Main Street. Just here to provide a brief update on our project and then a couple of upcoming events. We had our BZA hearing rescheduled to this Wednesday at 6 p.m. here at City Hall to properly advertise for both variances. When the first mailing went out, only one variance request went out instead of two, so we had to redo that process, and so it simply just delayed it by 2 weeks. But we anticipate that hearing happening this Wednesday, 6 p.m. here in these chambers. The Tipton Main Street Board selected BMS Enterprises as our contractor for the project. They delivered the lowest and best bid of $12,000 for the structure. This was below our budget, so currently we're under budget and ahead of schedule. Tipton Main Street does have the funds on hand to complete construction, and I'd be happy to provide the bank statement that says that. Pending BZA approval, we'll be offering a project sponsorship tier list to help support programming and events at the stage. That's in lieu of city or mayoral funds that would help those events and those programs. I had an on-site meeting this morning with BMS Enterprises and Diana Tomlinson, making sure that we're all on the same page about what this process is going to look like. Construction will last approximately 7 to 10 days, but we all know that it may drag on depending on weather and things like that. Main Street would request the plaza to be closed during construction, as we're going to have an active construction site, concrete being poured and things like that. And we request that closure be communicated via the city Facebook page, and then we'll be communicating that via the Tipton Main Street Facebook page as well. And I'll be in touch with you, Mayor, on that. And then the board has approved the draft of the operating agreement that I sent to you all, and we're ready and willing to sign on that whenever you so choose. But of course, pending the BZA approval. We'll be having an open house on April 10th from 5 to 7 p.m. at the Tipton Elks. This will be a chance for the community to celebrate our accreditation, discuss our ongoing projects and initiatives, promote our event calendar for the year, and showcase our new website that we're building with All About Marketing. Kelly McCormick, Kelly Kendall. I think there's a slight name change in there somewhere. The event will be open to the public, but we kindly request that you RSVP on our Facebook page, just so we have a rough estimate of numbers, or email president@tiptonmainstreet.org. There will be a cash bar and charcuterie appetizers, and I think Nate said he was going to pick up my tab for the night. So Better be free. Our partners at Main Street Zionsville are also beginning their Indiana Main Street accreditation process. So I reached out to Mayor Stair and Erica Carpenter, who's leading their efforts down there in Zionsville. The team from Zionsville is going to be traveling here to Tipton on April 16th from 11:30 to 1:30. We're going to be having a catered lunch here at the Mad Tap in town, and then we're going to be conducting a walking tour and visiting several different amenities and businesses within town to give them inspiration kind of as they begin their accreditation process. Both the mayor and council president have received invitations to that event, as the city representatives, county representatives have been invited as well. And then I think Chad Huff from the foundation has received an invitation as well. So do you guys have any questions with the stage project as we move forward we're talking about potentially breaking ground early April, having it done by the beginning of May. So
You know, great project. I'm looking forward to it when it's finished. But the initial discussion, have you finalized who is going to control the calendar? Who's going to be the calendar keeper?
yes, so with this new website that we're building, we're going to link the community calendar that exists out there with our website, and then we'll be adding the events at the stage to the community calendar. So if you're looking or seeking to schedule an event at the stage, you'll be able to log on to that community calendar on our website and see if that space is available. And then we'll be coordinating all of that as well. So that none of that responsibility will fall on the city or the mayor.
You assured us of that with, I wasn't afraid of that. I could just see a lot of different people wanting to use the venue and some confusion ending up where, but if you've got, I'm sure you've got a handle.
Yeah, so that'll
Other than being a Pittsburgh fan, I'm sure you're very
I'm
confident.
sorry, I go through enough pain already with this. I don't need to have any more headache. But yeah, that process will all be handled through the community calendar, and it'll be publicly available. So.
Well, I could see it being used a lot.
Oh, yeah.
I would hope so. I think that's my anticipation. And the only thing that remains undetermined is it's going to sound funny, but the color of the roof.
Just let the ladies decide.
Blue double blue, or we're not doing it. Well, one option that I had discussed with our board was there's an opportunity for the city to promote the new color scheme. So if the mayor chose, if he wanted to paint the color of the metal roof the same color, city color green, there would be that opportunity if that's something you're interested in. If not, I'm more than happy to, spin the roulette wheel and just pick a color.
But you do know that no matter what color you choose, somebody's not going to like it.
I'm fully aware that,
Okay.
As we went through the school, the Inferno project, yes, nobody is going to be happy, and that I will be public enemy number one because it's not the right shade. But I did want to offer that opportunity to you, Mayor or Council. If you have a specific request, just let me know, and if not, we'll pick around. So.
Thank you, Rob.
How about mural?
He told me no, so he doesn't like murals. So
I thought that was going on the side of the courthouse.
I think we covered that as well. That we've got enough money for this. But don't think I'm ready to take on the courthouse. So, looking forward to it.
Thank you.
Thanks, sir.
Thanks, Rob. Nothing else. I'd accept a motion to adjourn.
So move.
Second.
Motion second to adjourn the meeting. All those in favor signify by stating aye.
Aye.
Those opposed. Meeting adjourned.
How about Nate was getting ready to say something? Oh, I just put my hand up.